have one public forum item. Lyndon Wiggery is here. Lyndon, would you like to come through? Lyndon, I assume you're speaking on behalf of yourself?
I am.
You're right. Just clarifying that.
Richard, I have 4 copies, one for you, one for you. So,
Just pass it.
down and one for Wendy as well.
She's here.
Sorry. I wanted everybody to listen to the and got that on the note.
Well,
So the other 2 copies are for you and Wendy.
given that without the microphone, we've only heard about every second word so far anyway.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Richard, and thank you, councillors, for this opportunity to speak on a soon upcoming matter. In the ODT of 5 June this year, Mayor Cole was quoted as saying that in regard to the stadium review of financial governance and operating models, the aim is to identify the most efficient and economic models in each of these areas and put them into place. Because the review is so comprehensive, as I understand it, in-depth and wide-ranging, the options that will be presented for consideration by Council are, I believe, crucial so that the right choice can be made in each area. In terms of ongoing transparency to the ratepayer, the question arises, for example, do we still retain DVML or bring it back, as I personally favour, back to a council business unit? Given the controversial background to the stadium, which you know won't go away, and its obvious ability to pay its own way, leading to annual subsidies by you and I as ratepayers, can elected councillors be expected to make any decisions without further meaningful public consultation first? I would respectfully suggest you cannot. Perhaps the Local Government Act 2002 can be helpful. We're in a bit of a lay study that I've made, and I found in section 93, subsection 4 and 5, an LTCP, this one here, can be amended at any time, but special consultation procedures, you will note under section 84.2, will apply to any part of the plan to be amended. For example, I note on pages 5 to 8 of the LTCP, a lot of information is set out regarding the stadium as you and I saw it in June 2012, including those infamous or famous subvention payments by DCHL and the ability or not by DVML to meet its ground rental obligations. Although some recent changes to the stadium model as flagged in pages X1 to X11 of the current annual plan are updated, I would note, on pages 16 to 18, there is mention, as you well know, of a comprehensive review coming up. And I think it begs the question, will the inevitable options and recommendations be decided on before the next round of annual plan consultation? I trust not, because the outcome of this review does have a major impact on us all as a city, as ratepayers, as citizens, as residents. And in terms of section 77 of the Local Government Act 2002, you will note it states there the ability of council to meet its present and future statutory responsibilities. There is a connection there. Therefore, I would submit that in terms of section 82, subparagraph 1, subparagraph B, council is at least morally obliged to consult with its fellow citizens when the review is long last, we hope it's next month, made public. And I urge you all to ensure, as our elected councillors, that this is faithfully done. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Lindy. Can I congratulate you on your 5 minutes, which is almost to the second, so we should use you as an example in the future. Questions? Councillor Wilson.
depending on what the review says, and I have no idea what it's going to say, but I just want to understand, are you suggesting that because we're doing a review that we wouldn't come and talk to the community if there was a change in the LTP?
No, not one moment, Kate. What I am just highlighting to you the importance before the review services of thinking perhaps before the document comes across your table of ways and means of consulting without drawing out practice. We've been through an annual plan review and that was great. A public forum or a meeting or calling for some quick submissions in a very constrained and short time frame. I'm just flagging the importance of thinking about how we're going to consult with the public about this major review which has so much of an impact on our council finances before it surfaces. I was not trying to give the impression that we didn't trust the council not to consult with us.
Well, I'm not quite, the next question, if that's all right, Mr. Chairman, is how can we ask for public comment about it if no one's informed from on the facts of what the review provides? Isn't it better to do a consultation once the review material is available for people to say, oh, if that's the story, then can we go to, I presume it's going to come up with various potential avenues for us to consider. So isn't it better to have people informed by the review before we consult on it?
Well, I mean, it's yes and both. I would suggest that we don't know what we are faced with. All I'm suggesting, Kate, is that when it does come up, meaningful consultation, however you view it, however everybody else views it, is made available so that together as a city, we can actually address this problem. I still think it needs to be done, if only as part of the healing process. There's a lot of angst out there about the way the stadium was foisted upon us. Now we've got it, we've got to make it work. How do we make it work? As Mayor Carl has rightly said, in that ODT quote. So I'm just raising the question, will you please, councillors, keep in the top of your mind the need for some consultation strategy to arise when it surfaces? That's all I'm suggesting.
Just, and this is because I'm new and I'm not sure whether it's even actually a question for you, but since we're doing the 3-yearly review of the long-term plan, isn't that something that's likely to be consulted and fed in and out of that? That's
why Henry, I made the distinction between that document and that one, because I've been around long enough to know that the two are separate. And it seemed to me that this is about to overtake this, it's a 3-year cycle. But if the stadium review recommendations reports come up in between, and if decisions need to be made before we go through next annual plan, which starting with your January workshop, my point of coming today is, councillors, can you please think about a consultation process, which will obviously dovetail into this and also into the annual plan process. It may be that the stadium review takes longer and starts dovetailing into this. You may not have some meat to chew till January workshop. I don't know the process. All I know is that Sue has said to us publicly in the paper, we hope to have the report out by next month, which obviously is well before we get into the March consultation.
So Lyndon, the issues that will arise in terms of process will be driven by the conclusions of that report in large part. If the conclusions are that the only thing that's going to change is the colour of the letterhead, then we're probably not going to do a lot of consultation. But if there are changes that affect financially and council financially, then we will be driven by the rules that apply around that and around significance. And I would have thought that given the dimensions of the problem and the time frame of the problem, that it's most clearly going to impact on any conclusions or any LTP. So I think that it's almost inevitable that any significant matter of significance is going to end up in that consultational framework.
Sure, and I trust it'll be helpful to do that later research to say, well look, there are relevant sections in the Local Government Act which enable us as a city to go through a special consultative round, short one, we don't want to waste too much time, but are important things. So we do have the backing of the Act to actually be able to do this as a special consultative procedure.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Richard, for your time.